So what I want to take a little look at here is just that first kind of impression you get of Illustrator when you're first opening up, and just how to customize a few things in there just to make your life easier when you're working with it. So this is the typical home screen that you'd see. You probably wouldn't see anything under recent, but you'll see this kind of rapid start point for new file types, common file types, so things like A4, postcard, 1080p, etc. Um, Over on the left here, you'll see kind of some shortcut icons there for things like new file or open an existing file, and you can jump into your files, look at file shared view and templates, etc. What I'm interested in now is coming straight off this home screen. And to do that, you can click the little Illustrator logo at the top left here, the bigger one of the two there. And that will close that home screen. It puts you straight into Illustrator. So now you're in Illustrator so that you can see the panels, etc. And by default, what it does, it starts you with this kind of getting started toolbar on the left. And you can make that toolbar into a single or a double column by clicking the two little arrows at the very top of the panel there. I'm just going to make it double at the moment. And I think what we need to flag up here is that's not showing very many of the tools. It's only showing a small kind of fraction of the tools that are available in the Illustrator. And it's grouping them into kind of nice little groups described as select or shapes or drawing tools, etc. It's designed to make it easy for somebody who's never seen this before. But obviously, that can overcomplicate things if you're then looking for tools that aren't there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring up the advanced toolbar. Now, you have got three different options here. If you go to the three little dots at the bottom, and we'll click on the panel menu at the very top of this pop-up menu here, right at the top. And you'll see the three options that are in there are advanced, basic, or getting started. Now, you can also manage toolbars and create new toolbars, but we won't go into that at this level. But getting started is what we're looking at here. We have got a basic one as well. If I click on basic, this is the basic toolbar. Not dissimilar to the getting started, but without the kind of little headers breaking it up. But you get a very similar range of tools. If I go back in there again, and this time I go to the advanced one, you can see you get a whole lot more tools. And all of these tools that have a little white mark on the bottom right-hand corner there, these have all got extra tools hidden in there. So that particular one is a group of 5 tools, for example. If I come up here, that's a group of 5 tools. This one is a group of 6 tools. So there is a lot of tools tucked away in there. So all you have to do to get to them is click and hold the mouse down, or you can right-click on there, and it brings up those options in there. The other thing you're going to need when you're working in here is really you're going to need the control panel across the top, and it's in the window menu. It's just down here under control. So just goes to the window menu and down to control. And that brings up this bar across the top. Now it's just looking like a grey bar at the moment, but once you go into an Illustrator document and start working with the different tools, what it does is gives you all the settings specific to that tool. So if you go onto the type tool, it gives you options up there to change different text properties such as font face, font size, etc. You switch over to one of the shape tools, it'll give you sizing options and that kind of thing. So all of the options up there are specific to that tool. What you also have is a whole heap of panels. Now, we're only looking at 4 or 5 on here. At the moment, we've got a toolbar is actually a panel, as is the control panel there, but you've also got properties, layers, libraries, and if we hover over, you can see there's comments there as well. I want others though. That's not enough for me to work on here. So the way I tend to lay this out is by adjusting these panels. So the properties panel, I would typically pop just under there, and you can use it as a flyout panel and just click on it whenever you need to pop it out to work with it. This group here, I tend to not have them open in Illustrator. I tend to kind of leave them closed, but I like to be able to read the names. So you can drag these bars around and have it so you can read the name if you prefer. You can do the same with this one as well, although I don't feel the need on that one. But here I can see layers and libraries, but if you go into the window menu, I can get to all my panels from there. So everything from 3D materials right the way down here, going off the bottom, if I click and scroll down a bit, you can see there's a whole bunch more down here, right down to version history. They're all panels. And under type, you have about 7 or 8 panels hidden away under type there as well. So some of the more common panels I might want to use when I'm in here, well, I might want the Align panel open. So I'll have that one. It brings up the Transform and the Pathfinder as well at the same time. So we'll have those in there too. Won't hurt. I might want to go into there. Let's have a look. What else have we got? I might want to bring up, what is CSS properties? We might bring up the gradient panel. And if we're using the gradient panel, we'll pop it in there. We'll probably have that in different groups. So I'll drag it off and just drag it back until I see a little blue line as opposed to the blue square that you see around all of that group there. So the blue line tells me it's putting it into its own separate group. And the gradient panel is color. So in with that, I'm probably going to want the swatches panel as well. And that brings up brushes and symbols too. So there's a few there. We can get rid of these little tooltips here. In the window menu here, I might want the libraries. Now the libraries, I tend to, oh, it's already there. I was going to say, I tend to put it on the side here and just put it above this one again. It's one of those that you might want to pop out from there. And you can pop it in and out. So that's the libraries panel. If I go back into that window menu again, there's one or two others in there that I might typically bring up. So symbols is possibly one I would use. That's already in there as it happens. We opened it a few minutes ago without me paying attention. And under type, I might want to bring up things like the paragraph and the character panels. So I can pop those in here. They can go in there as a separate group. Transform panel, something I'll use. Again, it's already there, so don't need to worry too much about that. One or two of these have been opened as part of those other groups that I've opened. And we can go down there, and that's probably good for now. I might actually have the history panel as well. I won't use it quite so much in Illustrator, but we'll pop it over here. And again, I can just fly that out from the side there. That comments panel, I'm actually just going to get rid of. I don't feel I need that. So down the side here, I've now got my history panel, got my libraries, and there I've got my properties. And then you can see the others down here from the names, layers, transform, align. There's probably others that I would open, but those are probably the main ones. Now, I would like this to be something I can just easily go back to at the click of a button. And to do that, what I'm going to do is save it as what's called a workspace. And if you go to the window menu here, scroll up a little bit, because I've been scrolling down, you'll see there's an option there for workspace. And I'm going to go in there and do a new workspace. Today happens to be a Tuesday, so I'll call it Tuesday. I wouldn't normally call it Tuesday. I'd probably call it Andy's Workspace or something like that, but there was one in there already. So I'll call it Tuesday, click OK, and that's created my new workspace. Now you might be thinking, well, what's that done? Nothing's really changed here. But actually, if you go in here and start messing with this, and as you're working during the day, you're moving things around, some of these you might even close. You might close a couple of these. We might have the toolbar gets dragged off. And you can quickly get quite messed up here. You can quickly have things appearing on top of each other, and you can't find stuff and you don't know where things are. All you have to do is go to the window menu, down to workspace, and just go down near the bottom here to reset the name of the workspace. So in this case, Tuesday. And it just puts everything straight back to where it was and drops you back in exactly where it was previously. Now, the other place you can do that is if you go up to the top right here, next to your standard kind of 3 icons for close, minimize, etc. You've got a little icon there, and in there you can switch between workspaces as well. So you might have different workspaces with different panels for different types of jobs. So you can always, as a kind of a shortcut, do it from there as well. So that hopefully gives you a little bit of a better introduction. And just remember, if you open up this control panel across the top and switch this toolbar here, so it docked again, switch this toolbar here to the advanced one, you're working in Illustrator straight away is going to be so much easier because you're not hunting for tools that are hidden and you're not struggling to edit things because the bar at the top is missing. So you've kind of got everything you want there. And if you want to get into more detail and anything, you put your properties panel here, you can pop out to have a look at properties for specific objects as well. So hopefully that will make it a little easier to get started and get up and running in Illustrator.